Hey guys, and welcome to the Natty Blueprint podcast. This is episode 43. We have a very special guest on the episode today. I've been following this guy for probably close to a decade now. Interestingly enough, you were one of the first people that I was following when it came to natural bodybuilding back when I was maybe like 15. I had a PT session with a guy in the gym, and he linked me all your Facebook posts and stuff like that. So yeah, it's pretty cool. We have
That's
got
super cool.
Mr. Steve Hall, Mr. Revive Stronger himself. How you doing, my man?
Yeah, I'm good. I can't believe. I mean, partly you make me feel old, I guess, because I have been in the industry like a decade now. But also very cool. You've been following along the journey that long. It's you probably have it the same way. Sometimes people will tell you they're following or they listen to the podcast, whatever it is, and you're like, really, you do? You just there's so many people in the background who you just would never know, kind of keep up to date with what you're doing, silent listeners, as it were. So it's nice to know that you've been, following along, and thank you for inviting me on your own podcast.
Yeah, it's cool. It's good to have you on. Yeah, like I suppose let's get cracking with some questions then. Do you want us to give us a little bit of an introduction on maybe how you got into this? Because I know obviously, like I said, you've been here around a decade now, so it'd be cool to have a little bit of a backstory.
Yeah, sure. I won't give you my life story because at this point it kind of has. I've been, I've actually been training in the gym longer than I've for more than half of my life, for the majority of my life now. I'm 35 and I started lifting at barely 16. I know I wasn't 16 because I don't know if it still is 16 is like the age you have to be able to work with weights. Like,
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
think
so
so.
sure it is.
Yeah.
So I ended up getting into the gym just before that because I remember being asked my age. I was like, I'm basically 16, and they're like, okay, we'll kind of let you do this. Obviously I wasn't as dedicated to it as I am now, but certainly started pretty young. And yeah, I've always been an active kid and loved all different sports, and kind of got into the gym, like I said, pretty young. I even got the nickname Big Steve in my like football team. I know you're just saying, Denny, that you're playing football. I used to play
Yep.
football, and I was reasonably good, and I was not big at all. But you know, when no one else lifts weights and you're the only
Yeah,
one, then you suddenly look a
absolutely.
bit more jacked than the others. But I never really took to weights like some people did. I still remember back, there was someone else in my year who was benching like 30-kilo dumbbells at 16 years old, and I was just like, I can barely do like the 15s. Like, how's this guy so strong? You just kind of see those genetic differences and proclivities at that age. But anyway, I never studied like exercise science or did any of that. I didn't even take PE to A levels or anything. I was actually bullied at school, and like the guys in my PE class were some of the people who bullied me, unfortunately. So I was just like, I'll avoid them. I did art, went down that route, but I was still obsessed with being active and physical, and I was decent, and I think that was partly why I was bullied. Decent, but like a people pleaser, a bit shy and introverted, so a bit of an easy pickings, as it were. But then I went to university and I studied geography of business. I actually wanted to do economics because I find economics fascinating, but not doing maths made it challenging to get into any sort of universities. So I did geography of business at Nottingham. And when I was at Nottingham, again, I tried my hand at loads of different sports, running, rowing. I was playing football. I still did all my weightlifting though. And on one of these runs that I was on, I ended up getting hit by a van. And it wasn't great, and I was in hospital for an extended period of time, lost a bunch of weight, and I lost a lot of muscle, and I was basically back to like ground zero at this point, and this was at 20 years old, so a long time ago now. But that led me then to want to try and find further resources to educate myself on how to build my confidence back up, build my body back up. I was on various medications and restrictions in my life that made kind of socializing and things like that challenging at uni. So I just kind of became this little like introverted guy behind a screen trying to find forums and fitness information. We have so much at our hands right now. There's some negatives and positives with that because it's almost overwhelming. But back then it was just like a supplement forum I was on.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like bodybuilding.com, if you know that old one,
Yeah.
kind of similar to that. So I just started trying to learn and eventually came across Lyle McDonald's website, bodyrecomposition.com. He was, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Lyle.
I've heard of him, yeah.
You've heard
No,
of
I'm
him?
not.
No,
I've
okay.
no.
He was probably like one of the first evidence-based kind of people within the industry and space.
Yeah.
He's not as well known and popular, and he's kind of, I guess, pissed a bunch of people off because of the way he speaks about things and so on and so forth. But anyway, I came across him and learned a bunch from his website that kind of... some people, they just go into the gym and it works. They just train hard and they eat and it just works. Whereas for me, it never seemed to be that way. I always wanted to also know, like, how can I do this better? So that really opened my eyes to just small things like progressive overload and a calorie surplus and, oh, you need this much protein, things that we all take for granted now that just wasn't widely available back then. And I also then found 3D Muscle Journey. So you guys might know Eric Helms. Obviously, he's still massive within this space and one of the leading authorities. So yeah, I came across him and he was coaching Matt Ogus. And Matt Ogus basically became my guy. I was like, I want to look like this guy. So aesthetically pleasing. And he competed in natural bodybuilding. And I was just like, hey, I'm going to do that. So I kind of got into it through Matt Ogus and wanted to step on stage. And this was in 2014 now, so over 10 years ago. I stepped on stage as a novice, and I know my first show, I can remember not having shaved my armpits, and the judges gave me feedback that you need to shave your armpits. I was like, really? I had no idea yet to do that. I came second last in that class, didn't do particularly well. I went to the UK FBA, that was the MPA, did the UK FBA, and they at the time only had one big show, a big finals, and I did the novice category. You guys might know Ben Howard, now lightweight, very good pro, and yeah, he was in my novice class and he took that. I think I came fourth in that class. So again, didn't do amazingly well. I remember my mum being like, you just don't have the shape the other guys have. And at the time I was like, what do you mean? Come on, mum, you're meant to be my number one fan. And looking back, I see what she's saying. I don't have that symmetry. I knew that, and now it's very obvious a weakness. But obviously you build out a physique, you build on your frame, and you can kind of climb the ranks, as it were. And during that contest prep in 2014, I actually stopped working my kind of London office job that I was doing, and I transitioned to being a one-on-one personal trainer. So when I was doing that office job, I got a kind of qualification that I was doing on weekends to become a PT, because I was just like, I love this stuff. Whenever I've got free time, I'm just learning about it, and I spend most of my time doing it. So I started one-on-one PTing that year, which was a terrible combination, in-person PT with a contest prep, your first contest prep. So I was massively fatigued. If clients didn't turn up, I was like, yes, I just get to sit my ass. And but the good thing is I was training in my gym and getting into stupid shape, and people were like, what the hell? You're so lean and you lift differently to us. It wasn't such a thing to do big compound lifts and prioritize those and progressively overload them. The guys in my gym were just doing arms and hoping the rest of their body would grow and barely training their legs. So I started talking to people about hey, macros and energy balance, and hey, we need to look to increase lifts over time and logbook, all the basics. And I just started to pick up guys who wanted programming. So I used to just coach a bunch of people in my local gym online and check in with them each week, and slowly built an online business that way, and sharing my kind of progress over on YouTube via the most cringe-worthy vlogs and things that you'd look at. And I kind of spawned Revive Stronger at this point, kind of being hey, I've had this accident, I've competed, I've revived myself stronger. So that's kind of where the name comes from.
That was going to be one of my questions, actually.
Yeah, so that's kind of I tried to do it short, but it was still quite a long story, as you can see. But that's where that's how I got into the bodybuilding space, and that's how I got into online coaching, and just from there built, like I said, that's been 10 years ago now, and I went full time, and basically I met my partner, still my partner, at my office London job, and she was looking for a roommate, and I was like, well, I was still living at home at the time. I was like, I'm just going to leave my one-on-one PT. I'm going to go fully online, risk it. I was making enough to pay rent, and then just went all in. So that's kind of where everything started, and it's just grown and continued to go from there. I think when I got into online coaching, it wasn't such a thing. No one really knew what it was. There was only a handful of guys doing it. 3DMJ were one of the only team probably out there. Whereas now you can look left or right and everyone's an online coach. So I'm kind of grateful for the fact that I managed to get into it early, because I imagine it's very challenging now in that regard.
You've obviously seen it kind of evolve from how you started it to what it is now. I guess when you first started, you mentioned you were like checking in with people. Like, how would that run? How would that operate? Because obviously you didn't have Loom, you didn't have all these apps. Like, how did you do it when you first started?
Yeah, so I would do email check-ins, and I quickly stopped that because I found there's so much miscommunication that can happen. You
Yeah,
can't get someone can ask a question and via email it can sound like they're completely pissed off. Whereas, or you can answer a question and it can sound like you're being really short. Whereas if you're speaking it through and you can actually dig into and ask kind of open-ended questions, which I find incredibly useful via video check-in. So I quite quickly moved away from that. And actually, my coaching setup has stayed pretty stable since, I don't know, the last 9 years probably. I basically probably spent close to a year trying to do email check-ins, and that didn't really work as well. Initially also because I was local, so a lot of people I just checked up with them in the gym and didn't
yeah,
need to worry so much about it. So you kept that kind of personal element. And that was the thing for me. I was like, how can I keep this personal touch? Because that's so important for successful personal training and for communication. And I was like, hey, videos. 3DMJ actually at the time, they were doing video check-ins with their clients. So it's the same way I do it now. I get them to use their, thankfully, mobile phone, or we even had those back then, video, like they could check in via that and upload a video to YouTube and make it unlisted, send that across to me, and I can review it. So I still do that to this day.
oh, well,
I tried Loom for a little bit, but when I tried it, I was living in Clapham. Again, this was, I don't know, not 10 years ago, but a while
yeah,
ago. And my internet was so bad, guys. Like, I couldn't do Loom videos because it would, like, you have to have fast enough internet for it to, like,
uploads and yeah,
yeah. So
yeah,
it would just take a day uploading. So I had to record all my check-ins on my phone kind of offline and then upload them, but it might take a couple of hours to upload. So I just like, I'll record them and then upload them whilst I'm training at the gym and then send them out to clients. So that actually, the internet speed really handicapped the number of clients I could work with for quite some time. Even back, I was doing my podcast when I lived in Clapham, and I'd have to upload it overnight because the internet was so slow.
yeah. Funny enough, I actually grew up near Clapham, so
Oh, nice.
I don't know whether you're still there, close to there, but yeah, I know it quite well. So yeah,
Now I'm in Tooting now, Tooting Broadway, so I moved a little bit away from it, but
not
yeah,
too
not
far
too
from it,
far.
but
No.
yeah, yeah, nice. But yeah, obviously you mentioned when you started as well, like we're 15, 16 into the gym. Did you know what bodybuilding was, or was it just a case of I'm gonna go to the gym kind of thing?
I had no idea where it was.
Yeah,
So how I got into it was I was again playing football, and I think it was like after we'd done our Saturday training or something, and two guys were like they're heading off towards the gym. I was like, "Where are you going?" They're like, "Oh, we're going to the gym." I was like, "The gym? Like, what's the gym?" I didn't even know what it was. But then as soon as I got in there, I kind of knew why they loved it. Like I just loved the process of going in there and like I said, I love sports and just pushing myself hard. You know this if you have clients who have come from like a kind of performance sports background. They know how to push themselves in the gym. Whereas someone who hasn't had that and they haven't had coaches who have like pushed them to progress and work hard, you have to like encourage them. You have to almost get the whip out. So for me, the gym was just like another route to making life challenging and progress at something. And I just fell in love with it to the point where I was going more than everyone else who started going. I was like, every day after school, I'd just head down to the gym. My first split was like cables and then free weights, cables and free weights.
yeah, nice. Yeah, but what sort of gyms was you going to like back then? Was it just like your standard fitness
It was
first,
just,
fitness
yeah,
choice?
it was just a local
Yeah,
commercial gym that we had. Yeah, just my local, the one in the local area. It was just whatever was available. It definitely wasn't a bodybuilding gym. There was a personal trainer in there that was a bodybuilder, and yeah, I remember him saying you should do a body part split. So he was getting me on the bro split immediately. He was like, because muscles don't recover that quickly, and you can train them really hard if you train them just once a week. And I was just, yeah, I thankfully got a bit better education after a while from there, but still, you can grow from anything when you first get into the gym, which is the beauty of it.
absolutely, absolutely.
So in terms of your competitive career, then you said 2014. How many seasons have you done now? Is it because I know you've just recently won your pro card with the
Yep.
WMBF, which is congratulations. That is awesome.
Thank you.
So yeah, how many seasons have you done so far?
Yeah, so I did 2014 and did those two novice shows with the MPA, UK FBA. Then I did 2017, and that was it feels like I've done, like I'm like I kind of remember everything now. It's been so many times, but no, so I did 2017. I just needed to grow. It was very obvious. Like I had to fill out my frame. I needed to kind of take a good amount of time off. So I did 2017, and in that season, I managed to get to 2 British finals. So I managed to get to the UK FBA British final and come. Where did I place in that one? And then I was doing open at this point, so I was no longer a novice. So I managed to. I think I came 5th in that open kind of UK FBA final, which, by the way, now that physique that I had in 2017, he wouldn't be placing. Maybe I'd get to a final, I don't know. Maybe if I got lucky with a qualifier, but I certainly wouldn't be placing anymore. And then I did the MPA finals, and this was when the MPA was still of a size. You guys aware of the MPA?
Yeah.
They're not
they're very quiet
so
now.
big anymore.
Yeah.
They kind of haven't kept up to date with the times, and they're a bit old school and that sort of thing. But I did their British final as well. Managed to get to that. And in that one, I believe I actually came 3rd, which is like the best I'd ever been, which is great. And I qualified. The qualifiers I did, I think I came 3rd in those. So I was not winning shows by any means, but that was definitely a stark improvement from where I thought I was once. And then I tried to do 2020, but the COVID locked everything down, and so I kind of stopped that prep, and I did 2021. And for that, I managed, and then the UK FBA separated from the WNBF, so I managed to do one of the first. I think it was actually the second, or was it the second or first year the WNBF actually ran? It might have been the first year they ran a UK show. So I managed to do that, and my goal was to get to Worlds. And in my head, at least ahead of time, they said you had to come top 3. I thought I would. I thought I had the physique to come top 3 in that, but I came 4th. It was a very competitive class. Well, you would say, I would say that, but I actually ended up getting an invite anyway because the top 3 didn't want to go for whatever reason, and so I got invited to Worlds, and I managed to take 2nd at Worlds in the amateur class. Unfortunately, there was only 4 in that though. Like, that was the first Worlds after everything locked down, so I'd never say like, oh, I'm the 2nd in the world, and I'm like, I say that, but caveat, there was only 4 in my class. The other 2 guys, they wouldn't have been placing at the WNBF UK show, for example. Like, the UK scene, as you guys both know, is just ultra competitive.
Yep.
But yeah, that season I did a number of different shows. I did a BNBF show for the first time. I managed to come 3rd in that. And I did a UK FBA as well, did their finals. I believe I came 4th in that as well, in their finals. So again, I actually won. That was my first win, actually. I should say that. That season, 2021, I won my qualifier at the UK FBA. So that was nice to win. It was actually, I ended up crying. Like, I was like overwhelmed because I never had that happen before. So that was pretty special to have that. And then and again, good chunk of time off, and came back last year, 2024. And I just kind of thought, all previous seasons, apart from my first contest prep, I hadn't had a coach. And I was like, this year, I really feel like my physique's in a good place. I spent a lot of time investing in it, making it better. And every single year I've got better and better. And I just want to put everything in my kind of favor to improve. And I was like, who can I think of when I think of the best natural bodybuilding coach out there? Who do I think of? I think of Cliff Wilson. I can't think of anyone else with as good a track record for turning people into pros. So started contest prep with him, and thank God I did, because it was a very, very stressful year outside of bodybuilding. So I think I can almost guarantee if I didn't have a coach, I would have stopped prep and just been like, hey, I have to stop this. I've got too many outside stressors. But I don't know if either of you are coached, but your clients will even say it to you. It's so nice to just offload decision making.
Yeah.
Even though Cliff only did my nutrition, but the training side can be pretty simple when you're in prep. Like, you're just like fighting to hold numbers to some extent, bring volume down a little bit. Don't kind of beat yourself up into the ground. But the nutritional side, it was just nice to have someone be like, hey, hit these. And I'm pretty robotic with my food. If you tell me to do something, I'm doing it. I also wanted to learn from Cliff. He is evidence-based for sure, but he isn't as I don't know how to describe it, but he doesn't rely on like scientific research and studies as much as, say, an Eric Helms might. Eric might put a bit more precedence towards that. I don't want to speak for him, but that's at least my perception. Whereas Cliff side with a bit more of his like experience based.
Yeah.
And so I'd be a bit more of that Eric approach. So I was like, hey, someone who's going to challenge my perspective a little bit, who I can learn a bit more from. Let's go with Cliff. His check-ins are also just email based, and I was like, that sounds interesting. Let's see what that's like. It reminded me how much I like the video check-in side of things, because I did find I would have liked that element of to be able to communicate with him a bit more clearly. I think that actually could have helped the end result, but obviously it's also the coach's style. Like, he's found that works super well for him, so I can't really say. But so did that season, and I hadn't planned. The first show I planned to do was, I think, the UKFBA that year. And then it was like the next weekend was the WNBF. And my goal again was just to get to Worlds because it was so much fun. I absolutely had such a good time. If either of you ever qualify for like a Worlds or an event like that, I just like, if you can afford it and you can take the time, definitely go do it, because it's just being part of a team and meeting people from across the globe. It's such a fun experience. But regardless, I was dieting down, and I just saw that there was a couple of shows earlier with the WNBF, and I'd seen other people do it like the year prior, do some of these European WNBF shows. And I was like, I just asked Cliff if he thought we could do like a bit of a warm-up, and I'm so glad I did. Well, for multiple reasons, but I'm glad because I don't know about you guys, but the first show of the season, I'm always like shaking like a leaf on stage. Stressed, I'm nervous, I'm anxious, stressed, exactly. Especially because normally I leave it like 3 years, so I'm like, even if I see shows, it's not quite the same as being on stage.
Yep.
So yeah, anyway, I kind of was like, can we do one a bit earlier? I was looking at the Irish one or the Netherlands, because they were, I think, actually the same weekend, maybe a day difference. But the Netherlands one was actually way easier to get to. It was just like a flight and then basically like an hour drive to the location, whereas the Irish one I had to like fly, and then it was like a 4-hour drive, and I was like, I feel like Ireland should have been easier to get to than the Netherlands. I was like, I've never been to the Netherlands either. Seemed like a cool thing. And I had a client do it actually the year prior, and the stage lighting and everything looked awesome. It just looked like a great setup. So I was like, hey, this seems like fun. So I went over there to do that with zero expectations, and yeah, went through it all and ended up, like you said, I won my class, and then went to the like overalls. And at that, actually, I should have known once I won my class I'd got a pro card, but they didn't tell me at that point. I was just like, oh wow, I've won. I actually did as I said, it was a very stressful year, so I remember doing my posing routine, coming off and just like crying because I put so much emotion into that posing routine, just being like, whoa, that's a load off.
Yep.
So then did like the overall with the winner from the heavyweights and the lightweights, and I came second in the overall. But when third place got awarded their like placing, that he also got a pro card, and I was like, oh, okay, so I've got a pro card here. Yeah, so each class had enough competitors within them to award the pro cards to each person, and the judges deemed each person of a pro standard. And I was just like, that was the second show I'd ever won, so it's just like, it's not like I was coming through winning streaks. Like, I was like, yeah, this is like, I don't know, thinking pro card wasn't even on my mind for that season. I remember asking Cliff at the start of the season, being like, do you think I could turn pro? And I was like, you know what, it's a stupid question, because we both know it's outside of my control, but I just wanted someone to give me that affirmation who I like respect. But he never answered it anyway. And then after, once I got it, he was like laughing that I'd even asked, because he was like, yeah, I thought you had a good chance this year. So I took that. That meant, unfortunately, I couldn't do the UKFBA or the WNBF, because on accepting the pro card, you have to then do a pro show with the WNBF as like your first show. So on accepting it, I kind of allowed for that, and then went and did the SMBF, I think it's called, so it's like the Swiss pro show, which was beautiful. Again, I'd never been to Switzerland, and I was just like, that'll be fun, going over to Switzerland, doing this show. The flights and everything looked pretty easy. Thankfully, getting to Europe's nice and easy, and I did that, and I had hopes that I might place I really hope I would come in like the top 5, and there were 7 of us, and I didn't really know who was competing, but I remember walking around outside after like registration, and Babacar was just walking around, and I was just like, holy shit, don't tell me Babacar's competing here, which he was.
Oh, no.
And then we had like Ramon, who is an amazing, actually I think he's from Switzerland, an amazing competitor as well, and just a huge like lineup of amazing competitors. I think actually everyone who I competed against that day went on to Worlds and placed in the top 5, apart from one guy who I came second last to, who came 6th. I came 7th, so I lost that show completely. And he, I think, came in like the first half of the like middleweights, or no, like it was like lightweights 2 we were in. So everyone was of a good standard, and that really kind of, not that I had like false assumptions of how hard it would be as a pro, but it was right in at the deep end. Like I just got the pro card when I wasn't expecting it at all. Wasn't really like, no one thought I was a shoe in to go pro, that's for sure. And then going right in there, I was like, okay, this is tough. And then went on to Worlds, which was quite a long time afterwards, actually. And in hindsight, we definitely took too much off to try and also, because unfortunately they didn't give weight categories, and we were trying to like hedge our bets to be in a lighter weight category. In the end, I ended up like in the middle of the lightweight twos, so it was just like, oh, that was, but they didn't give us weight categories ahead of time, so you're just kind of gambling at that point. But definitely got too light, too kind of lost some size for that. And I think I know I came, there was a lot of us on stage. I don't know how many, like at least 15, 16, something like that. But I came second last. I was like, as long as I don't come last, I'll be happy. So, yeah, I mean, when I put it like that, like coming second last, it sounds like I don't like the sound of it at all. It sounds like almost defeatist. But if you and we talked about it, like me in 2014, little Steve coming like second last, not shaving his armpits, and being like, hey, in a decade's time, mate, if you keep going, you're going to go to Worlds as a pro. You're going to step on stage with the world's best bodybuilder there is, Babacar, and not look out of place. I wouldn't believe you. So yeah, it's been incredible to be able to do it. And it was quite cool that it was a decade on, like 2014 to 2024. So I certainly have had a slow rise to earning that pro card.
Yeah, well earned though, because obviously that kind of just nods to natural bodybuilding in general. Is it takes time, and you are quite literally a testament to that. So yeah, that kind of leaves me with a little bit of hope in maybe in 6, 7,
For
8,
sure.
maybe 9 years time, I can maybe follow the footsteps, which would be pretty cool. So yeah, if anyone's listening, like just literally keep going, because it's clearly worked for you. So which is always a nice little story as well. And I guess that kind of brings on to what's next within bodybuilding for you. Like, is it off season for a few years, or is it to go again very, very soon?
Yeah. But the saying that came to mind when you were just speaking there is people underestimate what they can achieve in basically the long term, and overestimate what they can achieve in the short term. So bodybuilding is literally the personification of delayed gratification. So it's just, if you love it, keep going. You'll be surprised what you can achieve. That's for sure. And in regards to like next steps, I really enjoyed my season, and I kind of wanted to do better in the pro ranks as well. Like I felt like, hey, I kind of want to be in the mix a little bit more. And I've just been investing as always. And I always like to think I'm investing 100%, but then your 100% kind of changes where you're like, no, this is 100%. I'm working even harder. It's like what you think failure is now actually a level above that.
Yeah.
So every year I'm kind of that way. And I had considered doing next year. So just literally taking a year off. And again, talking about Eric Helms, he did very similar. He 2023 turned pro, took 2024 off, and now he's competing this year, and he's come back to stage with 3 kilos more muscle, and that's because he just invested like a lot into his off season. So I was like, oh, maybe I could mirror something similar. But unfortunately this year has been another stressful year for us, so we haven't really been able to like live life. Like it's, you want to improve, and in other areas of life, not just bodybuilding. It's been great for bodybuilding because I've just been a homebody basically. I haven't been able to go away much. But next year, I think we're going to hopefully be in a position where we can live life a little bit more, me and my partner, and maybe go on some holidays, and obviously still train and do all the stuff I normally do, and then look to do the next year. I think that's smart as well for me. I think I need the time to fill out my frame again. It's not like I don't come in shape or my posing's really off. It's like the area for most bodybuilders, but size. So I need the size, particularly on like my chest, my delts. It's just an area that and quads, basically, to bring out that symmetry. That's the plans at the moment.
If you find the hack for growing your chest, let me know, because I need one as well.
I will let you know, that's
I've
for
been
sure.
searching for one for the past 6 years and I still can't find it. But yeah.
So in terms of, obviously you've got the coaching, Revive Stronger. Is there anything else that you do on the side, or is that completely you? That's your brand, your company, your literally everything?
Yeah, it's been that way. It's been my everything since like I moved out, like I said, 10 years ago. So
Yeah.
that's why I do full time. Obviously, I run the podcast as well, the Revive Stronger podcast. That takes a good chunk of time. Otherwise, it's just content production, as you guys know, or on like social media. You have to do those bits. That takes time, and client work takes a good chunk of time. And I've tried to do other projects related to like bodybuilding. Like I've tried to do group coaching before. Well, I have done group coaching before. Launched like a members site, but they never really. I think I never really put my love and attention into them where they could grow and thrive, because I just love the one-on-one coaching side so much. I just get so much more out of that. Like members, group coaching, you can't invest into a single individual. I think back to when I was a one-on-one PT and you'd have like a group class. There could be a guy in the corner with poor technique, but this lady over here needs your help. It's like, I can't actually help everyone to the best of my ability. So yeah, I love just being able to mostly just one-on-one coach.
Nice.
How much have you seen coaching evolve, like, and how have you adapted to that as well? Because obviously when you first started, it's probably a similar time to when I was following you. You're posting a lot on Facebook and stuff, and now we're having to, do content for like reels and stuff like that. Like it's all very different now, and you have to. It's almost like you're in a bit of a rat race with content, I find. You have to get that engagement straight away for people to even listen to what you've got to say. So how have you find that kind of implementing that as time's gone on?
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely changed. And Facebook, when I was first started online coaching, I don't think Instagram existed maybe at the time. Certainly not at the level it does now. And it was just photos at the start, right? It didn't have all the videos now. And it's definitely moved more. I guess actually thinking about it, it's moved from like written content to like photo written content to video. And that's the route it's gone down. So when I first started, I was actually doing a lot of emails, email marketing, and then blog posts. That's how I initially grew quite a good following. I remember some of my blogs got shared with like this personal training platform, basically, that ended up getting a good number of eyes on it. So yeah, over time, I just moved where people seemed to be moving, but also where I enjoyed. So like starting my podcast, obviously similar to online coaching, when I started my fitness podcast, there weren't really that many fitness podcasts, especially interviewing the type of people I was interviewing. There just wasn't such a thing. So that was quite novel, but I continue to just enjoy that. And so I've kept that going. And obviously YouTube has kind of continued to grow and become sort of people's TV almost, and entertainment. And then moved to Instagram and basically spent my time there and just kind of left Facebook because, again, the target audience just wasn't there, and so it wasn't getting the eyes. And then obviously TikTok and things are things I've thought about. I actually started an account but then stopped, and it's just too much. I think you can't be on every platform. It's kind of similar to if you're doing your football, Denny, and you're doing your bodybuilding, but also you're playing rugby, basketball. Suddenly you're just not very good at any of it, because
that's why
you can't
I
give
do it once a week.
Yeah, you can't give the time and attention it needs and the dedication, and you haven't got the resources to cover it. So I was just like, right, YouTube, Instagram, they're kind of my main two, and just kind of focus on those. And yeah, it's a struggle, Max, like staying up to date with the algorithm, kind of what's working, what's not. I literally yesterday I was down because I was just like, man, like my story views are like 1/3 what they normally are, and I've posted this many times this week, and like no one's really getting eyes on it. It's not getting many likes, but you can get really caught up in those vanity metrics, you could call them, where it's just like, well, likes and that sort of stuff don't mean anything. What are my clients doing? How many clients have I got? Like, how's my consistency been over time? Like, I'm in a good spot and people are doing well. And so I always just bring it back to focus on the thing that's kept me going, and why I think I've been able to sustain in this industry, which a lot of people don't, is remembering why I got into it and what generates like my ability to stay in it. And that isn't getting like 2,000 likes on an Instagram post. It's, hey, this client did well at a show, they leave me a nice testimonial, people see that, and then I get another sign up based off the fact that I do good work with clients, they say good things, and just focusing on that, doing good work with clients, sharing that work. And I think that's how you set yourself apart within the crowded space at the moment, at least, is being, and the hard part is being able to communicate clearly that you are a good coach, because
without just saying it, like,
yeah,
right, like, I'm good. It's like, well, you got to back it up.
Yeah, and there's so much fake news out there, right? Or you get an AI to generate like a fake transformation, maybe even a fake video testimonial. Like it's kind of wild. Maybe even down to like you could create a fake Instagram account that you said is your client, and someone could even message them, and maybe there's like an AI behind it that can respond with like what sounds legit. I don't even know. It's kind of wild how the landscape's changed, but I especially think with AI coming out, the coaches that are going down and using that to like coach for them, that's the wrong way to go. I definitely think you need to double down on community and like personalization and the kind of bringing about your personality too.
Yeah, like coaching is human. Like you're dealing with potentially two humans together, and if you're putting what could be a very, very good technology in, like AI, like I think it does have its place, but me and Max have spoke about this a few times as well. Like it's that, for me personally, is that it crosses the border a little bit too much, especially if you're giving your client AI-based information, because it's by that point you're just regurgitating what the internet has told you, and that is by and large what research is, but it's not come from you. So it's just boom, spin it over straight to them. So I think I agree with you on that one. That's not how it should be, and unfortunately with the industry, with Instagram, with marketing business, that's kind of seems like the direction it's heading, which is a shame. But hopefully the likes of yourself, Max, and me, and others in the industry that you obviously talk to as well, hopefully it can kind of stay in that lane a little bit, because it is scary. Like you hear some horror stories as well, where it's just like, is that actually happening within the coaching space or just fitness space in general? And it is like a little bit worrying.
Yeah.
I think the one thing with AI is it's never gonna be able to adapt and tailor towards that certain individual. You know, like everyone's needs are different, and you communicate differently to different athletes. So I just don't think it's ever going to be able to grasp that, because it would need so many hours of communication and learn the kind of personality of the athlete that you're working with. And I think that's where people are going to see the roadblocks for implementing it with coaching. It's just not going to be able to tailor and individualize to the athlete, which is probably the restriction at the moment with it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, just on that, the thought of, I don't know, an AI telling me I've got to remove or whatever 50 grams of carbohydrates this week to keep fat loss going, it's a bit different versus like a real human telling you like, dude, we got to drop it because we're going to fall behind schedule. Like the accountability side isn't quite there, and also the trust. Like a big part of people signing up with any of us is like that know, like, and trust. And I don't know about you guys, I certainly don't trust AI. I shouldn't tell it that. I'm now worried about what it might do, but that tells you how much I don't trust it.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it has its use, absolutely, like for just personal research or using it for certain tools. But if you're relying on it, especially within a business standpoint, when it's human facing, or maybe not human facing because it's online, but it just goes down the wrong rabbit hole, in my opinion.
Yeah. And I think the thing is as well with coaching is people buy into you, don't they? They're like, realistically, like, yes, you have coaches with more knowledge, more experience, but realistically, we all kind of do the same thing, right? So people will buy into you and your brand. And if they're not communicating with you and they're communicating with an AI platform, then you're losing that barrier straight away.
Yeah,
For sure.
absolutely.
So
Shall we?
on that note of like of coaching, what would your like kind of bit of advice be for new coaches? Because we get this question quite a lot on the podcast, is, you know, advice for new coaching, how to get into it, because it is such a saturated market at the moment.
Yeah, it's a good question, and I put my hand up first to say I'm not a business coach. I know a lot of people in my shoes, if they've been in the industry this long, they'd be like, yeah, I'm definitely going down the business route, because like obviously like I've thought about it before, but I'm like, it's not my expertise. I've grown my business so I can share my experience. So the way I ended up doing it initially from the get-go was working with, I think it's hard to get a client base. So initially working with even like friends, family for free or for small amounts of money, just to get some experience to show you know what you're doing. So that's great, but also with yourself, like share your results, your journey. That's certainly how I initially was doing it, was just being like, hey, this is what I'm doing, this is why I'm doing it. And then you don't, that imposter syndrome is not such a thing. I think a lot of coaches suffer that imposter syndrome, but it's literally, if it's a case of, I'm doing this is why I'm doing it. It's not like you're trying to educate so much and tell people what to do. You're just sharing your journey, and then people see that and they're like, oh, I quite like to do that too. So I think that's a great way to start, is like easy wins, work with people for free, help friends and family who already know, like, trust you, and then you develop a bit of credibility in that sense. And then you also develop it personally through sharing your own journey. And then value is always the way I've gone down. It's like a Gary V thing, right? Like, was it jab, 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 right hook? So like, just provide 80% of the time, something along those lines, just valuable content where you're educating, helping people, you're putting your spin on things, as you said, Max, adding your personality to it, your own experience with it, and then every now and then remind people that you are a coach. That's something I never used to have to do. That's something that's definitely changed. I could literally just put out value content all the time and I'd get inquiries because there wasn't such a supply of coaches. But over the last, like, ever since really COVID, I think COVID is when online coaching exploded. Actually, I had to start actually telling people, like, hey, I'm an online coach, I have spots available. Even now I don't do it regularly enough. Probably I need to, like, put it in front of people's faces. So I would say do good work, share that work, and then tell people that you're available and why they should go with you. And that's the route I'd initially start down. Past that, you're probably better off talking to, like, some sort of business mentor who has had amazing results with their clientele. But I think a lot of the good ones, at least that I follow, and I haven't worked with any in any sort of capacity, is they tend to tell you, like, show your personality, like, think about, put yourself in your client's shoes and talk to them as an individual. I think a lot of us, even, like, if you're working with bodybuilders, cool, and quite a lot of the time I attract just bodybuilders or people who are very interested in it. But if you're trying to work with, I don't know, female mothers, like, and you're a bodybuilder, like, don't talk to them as if they're bodybuilders. You gotta like talk to them in their language and a way that they would understand. So I think it's important to do that as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, like you said there, like, you can't talk to a mother of 3 children who wants to achieve X, Y, Z the same as you talk to someone who wants to step on stage. And I think that does get a little bit lost as well. Some people think that coaching is just coaching, and it ends up being, no, you need to talk to different people slightly differently. Obviously, I'm sure you've got slightly different client base, but predominantly probably bodybuilding heavy, but you probably find yourself having that slightly different conversation or different approach to females, males, older, younger, that sort of thing. Because you can't blanket it, and then that flips back to the AI thing. Can AI pick up on that? Probably not.
Yeah, you don't want to go, as when you start, you kind of have to take on anyone. And I would hazard people to taking on just anyone, because there's probably some people you just shouldn't take on. I don't know, people with certain injuries, probably just out of your scope, or like serious eating disorders or anything like that. That might be a bit too far. But if it's just general fat loss, general muscle gain, like, you can work with a young woman or an older man, like, you can do that. And I think once you've got results, you start narrowing down. I think if you niche down, like, no, I'm only working with, like, 20 to 25-year-old men who can train 4 times a week and work, like, I don't know, in a specific business, like they're dentиsts or something, like, you're too niche. You need to, like, be broad initially and then narrow down over time, and you'll discover as you start and go who you work well with. And it comes back to the initial discussion of, like, bodybuilding's delayed gratification. I think with this, be patient. Like, I think a lot of people get into it and they see, I don't know, those online coaches who are earning, like, the trope is 10k months. Yeah, exactly. They're, like, on a beach or whatever. It's like, man, there's not many. I don't think there's that many coaches doing that. And certainly if they are, they've worked really hard to get there. So just apply a lot of your, like, bodybuilding mentality to your business, and I don't think you're going to fail.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, because that's how I got into it. So I started coaching in 2019. Come off stage. So I competed as a teen in 2019. I come off stage, and within a month, I just put, like, a thing on my Instagram story saying, "Hey, I'm looking to help out some people. It's going to be completely free." Anyway, the boy who beat me in my first show messaged me saying, because I was documenting my whole prep on YouTube as well, and he messaged me saying, "Oh, could you coach me?" And so then I ended up coaching him, coached him for another prep the following year in 2020. And then he won a British title with the UK FBA that year as a team. And it
Awesome.
just kind of, the ball just rolled from there. And it's kind of like, sometimes you have to put yourself out there and just be like, I'm going to just do this for the love and the passion of it and find my feet first. And then I will look to charge people and go down that route and look to make a living out of it. And I think nowadays it seems to be flipped on its head. It's like, I need to make a living out of this before I've even found out if I love it, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's where the kind of grey area is with this industry at the moment.
I love that. I love that story as well. It's just such a good example of the right reasons to get into it and a good way of also doing it, and then it's snowballing from there. So a lot of people get into it because they think it's easy money. It's like, you're going to fail as soon as you get into it for that reason.
I invested so much. Like, I prepped him completely for free, didn't charge him at all. I obviously traveled for the show. I was literally listening to podcasts on contest preps and getting all the information I could to just make sure that he looked good on stage. And then for him to go win a British title, I was like, I might not actually be that bad at this, you know? So then from there, it's been progressing and having more and more clients on stage. And yeah, it's pretty cool, really. It's like how it's developed from 2019 anyway.
Yeah, I think that you actually mentioned a really good point there too, is like educating yourself. Like, it's not okay just to be able to like punch numbers into a macro calculator and then provide that to your client, or just ask AI to give you the training program for the client. You need to earn your stripes there and really educate yourself. And there's no excuse not to now. Like, when I first got into things, like I said, it was Lyle McDonald's website, and obviously I got my PT qualification, and I was reading textbooks that weren't even particularly appropriate to bodybuilding style training. It was mostly powerlifting and strength training, but still there was something there. And then I went to in-person seminars and things like this. I did a lot of those when they were happening initially, but now like there's online courses and everything online, like I said, many very good podcasts, so there's no excuse. So I do think that's what's helped me also sustain in this space, is my podcast forces me to stay up to date with a lot of this stuff, and forces me to learn too. But just making sure that you're keeping your education in place, and you also learn from your clients, but you just can't get complacent.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. How have you seen, just to change the subject, how have you seen kind of training evolve over recent years? Because obviously there's always multiple different ways to train now. You know, there's training to failure, reps in reserve. It seems to be everyone's kind of flipping. How much have you seen it change over the past maybe 5 to 10 years?
Yeah, it's a good question, because I guess in my the thought that always comes to mind is like, what you see is all there is. So I'm only seeing like the training that I'm seeing, or the people talking about it on social media, and I don't know if I'm casting my net in the same places as other people are. And in my local gym, for example, I have no idea what people are really doing in there. So I don't know, but at least it seems like for a while, when I was first interviewing people like Brad Schoenfeld and like people doing the research, there wasn't that much research. It was kind of a bit novel and a bit new, and thinking about like scientific principles and all of that was relatively new. And it's grown to the point of, you look at someone like a Mike Israetel, where he's now got, or even Jeff Nippard, like he's got both of them, millions of subscribers now on YouTube as like kind of evidence-based, science-based lifters for what have you. But you look back, I don't know, 10 years ago, like when I was first getting into it, in those first few years, that was kind of new and novel. So not many people were training like that. And it was more like, what did the bros do? And kind of, what's the biggest guy in the gym doing? Or flex magazines and forums. Yeah. And now, so I think that helped, and it really pushed people in the right direction, where people are learning about science. And then it's almost become, science is like the new bro science, where it's just like people are taking it too far. Like they're taking one study and being like, so now you should absolutely do this because this study had these outcomes. And it's like, there's so many limitations, and people are using it just as marketing straight up. So like now science-based lifting, I guess, became like a bit of a selling point, and now it's almost becoming a bit of a joke, and people are flip-flopping, and it makes me think about a lot of things. I know for a time, have you guys heard of daily undulating periodization, DUP?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know, maybe it was 6, 7 years ago, that was like the biggest thing. And it was like Lane Norton's like fat program, and like, because there was a few research studies showing that it was superior to a different type of like periodization, and it's just like
It's too
swings
niche,
and
isn't it?
roundabouts.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just ends up going that way. So for me personally, at least, I've become way more accepting of personal experience and anecdote, because quite often, well, when I think about even exercise science as a whole, it's still very new in terms of a scientific field and practice. And then you think about all the limitations, and now I can kind of empathize a little bit more with like a Jordan Peters, who maybe gets frustrated with some of these younger guys who are like, oh, see, this PubMed study said this, big guy, you should train this way. It's like,
Yeah.
how many people have you helped get massive? How massive are you? Like, being very critical of that.
Yeah.
And I used to be like, hey, Jordan, come on, like, this is science, like, this is hard facts, like, come on. Whereas I've evolved as a lifter, and as I've got my own anecdotal experience, I'm like the science can only get you so far, and then you have to learn on your own and be your own scientific experiment. So yeah, I can't speak where other people are, but it's a messy space. I think it definitely for a while was getting better, and there was more information, and then a few people took that opportunistically and used it as marketing and took it too far, and now it's like science has almost become a bit of a laughing stock. It's like, like, that's not great, because it can be useful, but not when you're doing it like that.
It's the extremes of the two which are the issue, because it just makes both of them laughable. It's kind of, the middle ground is big and either end is very small, but people only see from the outside, especially those extremes. Like, I'm sure you see it on your Instagram where people are tying themselves up to machines and doing God knows what, and then you've got the other end of it when people are just going absolutely bananas, who seemingly haven't built the muscle that they're saying they have, or whatever their start point is, and it's just the complete opposite. It's just a bit of a wild scenario, and it is just pitting people to either side, and that's what sells at the moment. Is like, oh, don't look at what they're doing, look at what they're doing, and vice versa, because
Yeah,
it's popular and it sells.
yeah, it's even like, it's funny, like I've seen a recent reel of Dorian Yates, and he was basically like questioned, like, what do you think of RAR, like reps in reserve? And he was just completely ripping into it, taking the piss. And I was like, man, that's hilarious, but like, do we have to go back there where it is that like pinning one another against each other and having camps? It's like, we all want to just get big and jacked, and no one's trying to make, I don't think most people are trying to make it easier, especially people who want to get big and jacked. We're all just trying to find the recipe that gets us there. So much so, obviously, you guys might even know, I had Mike Israetel and Jordan Peters on the podcast together, and they kind of talked about it, and it was a new novel approach for Jordan. He tried it for a period of time and found it just didn't work for him for whatever reason. And I think that's great. That's the right way to go about it. Whereas like Dorian just throwing shots, it's completely pointless. Especially when like we have videos of someone like a Jay Cutler being like, he never trained to failure. It's like, how can you like take the piss out of people who are leaving reps in reserve, but then you have one of the greatest bodybuilders in the world being like, I never trained to failure. It's like, it's just tit for tat. It's just personalities and opinions, and I think it just confuses quite a lot of the trainees out there, unfortunately, because they're like, I don't know where to go. Is it Dorian or?
Yeah, and it confuses new people, because they're like, well, what do I listen to? And I guess that's the same with just information out there in general. There's so much of it. You've got YouTube, Spotify, podcasts, books, websites, you name it. And they're like, well, or coaches. There's like thousands of different coaches. Like, which one do I go for? And I guess the thing that works is just choosing one and sticking with it. And that is what works.
Enjoyment. Yeah.
If
If you enjoy your training, you're going to stick to it. You're going to adhere to it. Like, I can guarantee if you're looking at these people who are at the extreme measures, they're probably also people who can't follow a diet and just do basic stuff like that. So it's like, I always say with training, like, yes, implement these kind of strategies or these methods, but if someone comes back to me and goes, I hate doing this, then I'll be like, well, let's change it, because you're not going to continue to do it, you're not going to adhere, and you're not going to enjoy it, therefore less effort, less results from it. So I think a lot of training is just down to enjoyment at the end of the day, and it tends to work.
Yeah, it's probably why Jordan Peters didn't get on with it, because he
probably
didn't
took
enjoy
away
it.
its
the enjoyment factor of how he likes to train, which is how he likes to train. So if you try and change that, he's not going to want to stick to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think enjoyment couples with adherence. It's like that's the foundation to diet or training as a whole. So, and sometimes education helps someone enjoy it more. Like, I don't know, some people need to be convinced that RAR is not just a pussy's way out, right? And maybe you educate them, maybe like, hey, we can be proximal and we don't have to take it all the way there, and so on and so forth. But I always come back and I draw all the way back to like first principles of like, as long as you're training like hard with stuff that's specific to hypertrophy, like you're not doing hard singles or hard bozo bull squats, you're doing hard like hypertrophy hack squats for like sets of 5 to 15, and you're progressing that over time. That's the ultimate arbiter of growth, is hey, you're getting stronger over time in the specific rep ranges. You're doing a great job, and then you can try different things and experiment within these broad strokes of principles that we have and see if you progress a bit faster via a different method.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Steve, are you good on time, or do you have a time that you need to buzz off?
I'm good. I'm only you can cut this out if you want, but I'm only aware of my dog, who isn't with me right now, and she's had some diarrhea today, so I'm just hoping she's not doing that anyway. But as far as I'm concerned, I can't hear her. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
We're just quick fire some questions and then we can
Yeah,
wrap
let's
it
do
up.
it.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Did you get many Macs? Because my Instagram doesn't like me.
I'll do a few from the Natty Blueprint page.
Yeah.
We've got quite a fun question to start. Top 3 superheroes.
Man, that's a good question.
Also, how
Who
you
immediately
put
comes
Grogu
to
in the
mind?
background is great.
Oh, you're a big Star Wars fan. Nice.
I've got exactly. Is that the one that moves?
Oh, it doesn't move. It's just like you
my
can
one
chuck it
talks to
around.
me.
It's soft. Oh, nice. Yeah, the Mandalorian seasons like 1 and 2, I really enjoyed. They were great.
Yeah.
But I'm a big anime geek, to be honest. So I'm not so big on superheroes. So okay, initially the people that come to mind, I'll just do it off the top of my head: Spider-Man, Thor, and Iron Man would probably be the ones. I've gone down. That's all Marvel, right? I've gone down a specific route there.
That's the better side. You don't want to go down DC route. I mean, what's cool about Batman? Let's be real.
Yeah, is he a superhero? I don't know. He's just a normal man.
It's a mere mortal.
Jack's asked 2 questions about caffeine. Caffeine, is there too much? Yeah, that's one of the questions. Is there too much? I suppose, yes, there is too much caffeine. I suppose there's too much of anything. What is this question? So basically he's asking, can the effects of caffeine be detrimental? So I don't know if you want to take that one, Steve.
Yeah, for sure. So I think the like upper safe limit that, I don't know if it's the FDA or who, but I think it's 400 milligrams a day is like their recommended, like, don't go over this. There's actually case studies of natural bodybuilders doing like 1,000 milligrams a day regularly, and probably too many monsters in a contest prep and black coffee is going down. But so you can get quite high with caffeine, and I think the lethal dose, you could probably chat GPT this, but it's probably pretty high. People have got in trouble with it though, because like My Protein and stuff used to sell like caffeine powder with scoops, and they're like creatine sized scoops, and they'd suddenly be doing like grams of caffeine, which then land them in hospital, which is pretty scary. So you can cause yourself problems. The amount that I tend to recommend is not going over 3 milligrams per kilogram. Reason for that is more than that, I tend to find consistently harms people's sleep. And when I think about why we're using caffeine in the first place, it's like to give us a performance boost. But if we're sleeping poorly because we're having so much caffeine, it's like a double-edged sword that starts just leading you down to needing more caffeine, having worse sleep.
Yeah.
So I think that's where you get into trouble. So my general rule of thumb is like, try and keep it 3 milligrams per kilo or below. Try and cut that 10 hours before you're looking to go to bed, which means if you are training later in the day, if you need a pre-workout, do like a caffeine-free one, unfortunately.
Yeah, for sure. And then we'll round off with one more question. How has Steve found becoming a judge?
Awesome question. Yeah. Judging was, to me, really opened up my eyes to like being on the other side. Like I've been the person on stage and at the back of the stage, not having like a look in of the judges. So like I really empathized with everyone on stage. And when I first judged, it was so overwhelming because I was like, I want to look at everyone, give everyone feedback, note that down because I know how much time and effort people put to getting up there. And then I quickly realized, holy shit, I ain't got time for that. Got to make a judging decision fairly rapidly, to the point where I would term it, it's probably not the right term, but I feel a bit ruthless now as a judge. I'm like, who's my top 5? Everyone else 7. I get them kind of back out the way. Right, now I'm looking at my top 5. These are the ones I really have to spend my time looking at, and then kind of categorizing them, ordering them, like what shots they're winning on, so on and so forth. And then really understanding the judging criteria. Like I knew the rounds that there were. I knew kind of what the judges were looking for, but I never knew as specific as now I do. So with the WNBF, most federations tend to have a symmetry round, and then you have a muscularity round, and we judge those completely separately. So it's like as a judge, I'm not looking at condition in someone's glutes during symmetry. So when I see guys pushing their glutes like forward and their X frames now crushed and they look more narrow, I'm like, ultimately that's harming you in symmetry. It's cool you've got glutes. And some federations might judge it differently and they might award that. And it's a bit flashy. I get why people might go into that with their hips forward. But yeah, it was very eye-opening kind of getting that. It made me a better competitor. It made me a better coach because now I can look at clients and be like, yeah, I can see small and big muscle groups, but now I can look at it through the lens of how the judge is looking at you. Where are you scoring lower? What do we need to bring up to make you more competitive? And even just a understanding of like, hey, the symmetry round gets you into that first call out for the muscularity round. Symmetry is so goddamn important. And then you're in that front shot for such a long period of time. And judges, like I said, are making decisions quickly. People talk about shows being won from the back, but you only get to show your back once you've got your front in a position that's earned you a spot in that like top 5 or like that middle shot. So it's like those little bits that I've been able to learn, and then just respect for some of the other categories that I'm not. So obviously, you're both bodybuilders through and
Men's
through.
physique for me.
Oh, you're men's physique. Okay, so I got more respect for like the men's physique category, which I've never done. Not that I didn't ever respect it, but now I look at it through a new lens, and so I can help my men's physique clients better because I know what the judges are looking for. Whereas before, I like knew it, but not to the level that I know it now because I have to know each category inside out. So yeah, judging's been a hell of a lot of fun, and now I don't get nervous for it anymore. I'm excited, which is nice, and being able to give judges feedback to people as well, and like feedback that can actually like help them become a better competitor, short or long term, is great, and also just hopefully inspire them to go beyond and stick at it and enjoy the process, because like we've mentioned, doing this long term is important, and you only do it long term if you enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Steve, it's been a pleasure to have you on, mate. Thank you very much for coming on here. Last but not least, do you want to give yourself a bit of a shout out? Where can people find you? The light in the background is probably a good indication. But
that helps.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. It's been a lot of fun. And yeah, if people want to find me, I'm most present social media on Instagram, so Revive Stronger. Or if you go revivestronger.com, you'll find the podcast there. We have the improvement season, which is me and another coach on the team where we just chit chat each week. Or the Revive Stronger podcast, which is more of an educational platform where I talk to coaches and educators and even competitors in the space. So they can find that there. And our coaching is also at revivestronger.com. So yeah, thank you again, guys, for having me.
Appreciate you coming on.
Perfect. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. And we'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.